Good evening, campers. I hope you are having yourselves a tremendous Thursday. It's Andy here. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me on this rather mild evening in Melbourne. My friends, how are we going out of 10? Post your scores in the comments below. Let me know how you are doing. Gang, made the mistake of going for a run earlier today. It's not a mistake. It's a good thing, right? But safe to say that my figure is not exactly beach ready. Let's put it that way. And my daughter, who's just learning how to ride her push bike, she sort of says to me, Daddy, can I come for a run with you on my bike? And I went, oh, yeah, sure, darling, sure, no problem. And now normally, if that happens, normally I can, I'm sort of waiting for her and whatnot. But towards the end of today's run, it was very much a case of me trying to keep up with her, which is not good considering how long my legs are. Normally running isn't that much of an issue. So I think, I was almost going to throw up once or twice. I'm not going to lie. So I've definitely had the shock to my system. I wonder if anybody out there has, started getting their fitness back together or what have you, or has had a bit of a shock to the system. Let me know, because it was bloody painful for me, and it didn't half make me feel a little bit old, so I really need to get back into it. Unbelievably bad, actually. Gang, couple of questions we've got to go through tonight. One of them is very much around the theme of the day, because it is Are You Okay Day today. Lots and lots of cool people have been really, really cool posting Are You Okay pictures and things like that on their various social media platforms and what have you, which is wicked. It's a really, really cool day for awareness around mental health and awareness of those around you and how they're sort of acting and interacting and so on and so forth. It's got a bit of a question around that, though, which I'll give you my 2 cents on. Also, we've got a question around time management, particularly if you've got a young family. So for those of you who don't know, I've got a 6-year-old girl called Eliza, who is an absolute superstar, and a 2-year-old called Cal, who is very much aware that he's 2, and he's definitely read the rule book on what that entails, i.e., taking the whole terrible twos thing and running with it. Properly running with it, bless him. Now, for me, when it comes to Are You Okay Day, so let's crack on with the first topic. Gang, please post your scores. Post your scores on the doors in the comment section below. Now, gang, Are You Okay Day? And this is a fair question that I have been asked around about an hour ago, actually. Is that enough to ask those around you? Are you okay enough to ask those around you? Really interesting question, and one which sort of alludes to why I ask everybody how they are going out of 10, right? So Veronica, nice to have you join us, my dear. Welcome to the show. She's a 10 out of 10. Bless her little cotton socks. Beautiful stuff. Now, Kylie is asking me, am I okay? Gang, I had my moment that I generally have, for me, dips in form tend to be, they're thankfully, gratefully, few and far between. Father's Day was a bit of a dip in form for me for obvious reasons. Now, gang, I'm seem to be, I don't know, considering I don't take recreational drugs or whatever, I'm seem to be on a decent roll. Now, are you okay? Is that enough? Now, the reason why I ask people to give us their scores out of 10 is because it promotes a degree of self-reflection and makes you sort of actually have a think about what your score might be. And the reason why I do that is because of the fact that it isn't as easily sort of deflected as Are You Okay sometimes is. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, Are You Okay Day is Are You Okay Day is good. I mean, it's great from an awareness point of view. The whole sort of Are You Okay motive is absolutely brilliant in terms of raising awareness. I love the yellow and black because it makes it really stand out in people's minds, kind of like a warning sign. to ask people of these things, and it can be a great way to start off a conversation. And if you know people really, really well, like really well, so I'm talking like spouses, brother, sister, mum, dad, are you okay? Can be a perfectly great way to start a conversation if they feel like 100% comfortable with you, like absolutely, like blood is thicker than whatever type, on the same page, shall we say. I'm not knocking I'm not knocking the movement in any way, shape, or form, because I think it's been incredible around the world with respect to bringing awareness to a cause that is very, very close to my heart and my head. I personally believe, though, that look, for a lot of people, so especially if on Are You OK Day, you've asked your colleagues if they are okay. Because a lot of the time, if that person that you are asking doesn't feel entirely comfortable with you, then they will very quickly and very easily sort of brush it off and say, yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm not too bad at all. How are you? You see what I mean? So if someone says, I ask you, are you okay? And or you ask someone and you think you're concerned about them, and they just say, yeah, I'm good, thanks, then it's a really difficult thing, and it actually gets really, really intrusive and can sometimes be offensive. If you go, are you sure? Because, I'm not sure about, I've just seen a couple of things. I'm not sure if everything's all right. Are you sure you're okay? And it can be quite intrusive, right? If they don't feel that level of comfort with you, like what your spouses do, or like I said, siblings or mum or dad or whatever. So that's where we've got to be sort of quite careful. And look, Craig Turtz, who is the president of 100 Words, which I'm a massive advocate for, he says this. He's a 5 out of 10. Are you okay is not enough. It's not just a day. It should be every day. How's your day out of 10 gives you a lot more information about your mate. And I get why he's saying it, man. I really, really do, because it can, asking people a quantitative question, like a scale type question, it makes them, because there's a lot more options, right? Are you okay is very much a closed question. If we're to put it into sales parlance, are you okay is a very, very closed question, because it can have a binary answer, right? Yes or no. Whereas that scale thing it puts people in that sort of frame of mind to actually judge themselves in terms of their emotions and mental health and well, and it makes them check in with themselves. Now, my thing about all of these movements is it's great to talk, and it's great to do exercise, and it's great to do the things that are very much common in terms of what you need to do in order to help you from a mental health point of view. But the big thing, and I'm talking from my own battle scars here, so these are just coming from my stories, okay? It's just one guy's opinion. I believe that we need to advance the conversation from a society point of view past asking the question, are you okay? Or past getting someone to go to the gym or go for a run. And we really need to get, as a society, a deeper understanding as to why you end up with a mental health problem or with mental health issues, or why you feel down one particular day. Okay, the reason why is because, and a perfect example are professional sports stars, right? So if you see a professional athlete or whatever, they are generally hyper fit, like super duper fit, get told to talk a lot, okay, and yet you find that a hell of a lot of them still have mental health issues that they're dealing with. So a lot of the stuff that gets told in society as to how you get out of stuff, out of a funk, it doesn't work on those people. It doesn't work on athletes, right? And sports stars and those types of people, because they're fit. So going to the gym doesn't give them that endorphin rush that someone like myself, who just went for a run. Like I said, I should have gone for a run way more times than what I have done, and just gone for a run today. I've got an endorphin rush because my body isn't accustomed to it, and therefore it feels like a little bit more of achievement to go out for a run. Whereas these people that do exercise every single day, it doesn't give them that same chemical effect in their brain. So how do they get their kicks? How do they get their positive rushes of chemicals running through their brain in order to keep the wolves from the mental door? It's a tough one, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, for me, knowledge is power. Knowledge is everything. Whenever you're trying to get yourself out of a mental health concern, you need to go through and understand what those chemical imbalances are. If you're taking medication, you need to do the homework on what that medication is designed to do. Yeah. In terms of your mental, in terms of your chemical balances and so on and so forth. Knowledge will allow you to work out for yourself what is going to help you personally get out of your concerns and get out of and evolve from your mental health issues. Because the thing is, we're all wired so differently. We're wired, every single one of us is wired differently up here. And doctors can only give you a probability of success based on however many cases showing similar symptoms, right? There is no manual for Andy Reid's mental health. So I found that in order for me to understand how I'm going to evolve, I needed to understand what was happening, why these things were happening, why certain emotions were occurring at certain times, so that I had a foundation of knowledge from which I can build these things onto. Okay, and allow me to even look at evolving. Because if you don't go to, and this is my humble opinion, if you don't go to the lengths, or if you do go to the lengths of understanding why things are happening, then you have got a much greater opportunity to evolve and actually change your mental framework permanently, so that it prevents you from heading down that path over and over again in a cyclical fashion. Going to the gym, taking meds, getting a good night's sleep, those sorts of things are absolutely 100% helpful, okay? But they paper over rather deep cracks in your foundational sort of mindset, in your framework that is holding everything together. It will give you that temporary relief, much like a motivational video. If you're feeling lack of motivation, stick a motivational video on from YouTube, and all of a sudden you get that little rush of, yeah, I can do it. It lasts about half an hour, right? And that's a similar sort of thing. So for me, for example, I don't drink, right? And the reason why I don't drink is because I studied the fact, and I came to understand the fact that alcohol slows down the production of serotonin, which is one of the key chemicals in your brain that allows you to function properly, and it helps you sleep and helps you wake up with a bit of a buzz. Okay, it's the main reason as to why you generally, if you have a massive night on the piss, the morning after, aside from the stomach and all that, but up here, your head will feel really cloudy. It's because your serotonin levels are going to be so low. And why do you think you're sluggish getting out of bed after a night on the Terps and so on and so and also combined with that, through lots of lessons and so on and so forth, we have come to understand that I have a natural issue with the production of serotonin. So I took the life decision that I would rather have a decent level of serotonin and be a better dad, husband, friend, human, work person, whatever, 7 days a week, as opposed to having a few drinks. For me, that was the trade-off. I either have some beers and then spend the next 3 days, because that was how long it was lasting for me, in a cloud, or be nice and clear for 7 days a week. And it was an easy decision for me. So it was 4 and a bit years ago, that was like that. And I never had a drinking problem, but I needed to make those sorts of changes because I needed to evolve as a human being, right? So, gang, please take this Are You OK Day to spur you or to help spur others on to really try and have a deeper understanding as to why these things are happening to them. Because I swear it will provide you with keys, with unlocks that will allow you to actually forge a path forward that is going to be evolutionary within your own life. Ultimately, doctors, GPs, psychologists, psychiatrists, medications, all these sorts of things, they're all designed to show you the door. But ultimately, there's only one person that can walk through it. Okay? And having that knowledge, having that awareness will give you a little bit more confidence to want to walk through the door. All right? So that's sort of my 2 cents on that. Just going through some of these comments here. Jeff, my dad's best advice was to never ask if are you okay without being prepared to listen, or don't ask if you're busy for the same reason. Mate, that is an incredible point to make. And this is what I mean by, in terms of your work environment, your work colleagues and what have you, a lot of the time we'll go, are you all right? You all right? You all right? You okay? Yep, good, awesome. And then you carry on down the corridor or whatever, right? Or you get on with whatever it is that you are there to talk about. That is an amazing thing. That is an amazing point. If you're going to actually genuinely, authentically ask someone with a degree of care if they are okay, or how they are feeling out of 10, or whatever question you ask, you need to have the understanding that you are there to listen. You are not there to coach. You are not there to, and this is a mistake I've probably made over the trip, is a lot of the time you just need to shut up and listen. That's an amazing point, Jeff. Very, very well made, my man. Natalie, we had a work colleague from our office 2 years ago. Oh, wow. Take his own life. So it's such an important thing to try and reach out if you think something's not right. Man. Well, start for 10, condolences. I know it's a couple of years ago, but condolences to the family, to you guys, whoever was in the office at the time. That's a shitty way to go. It's a shitty way to go. But back to Jeff's point, if you're going to actually show care, you need to be prepared to give a bit of time as well. Okay? So if you are genuinely concerned about one of your colleagues or whatever, instead of just asking them when they're in the office if they're okay, because defenses are up when you're in the office, yeah? Or if you're in a group Zoom environment or whatever, defenses will be up. 100% they will be. So with those people, my advice would be to ask them if they want to, when we're allowed to, ask them if they want to have a wander and go get a coffee, or ask if they just want to go for a walk, right? When I'm really struggling, I actually use running as active meditation, because I can't sit still. So I actually use it as active meditation, and it helps my mind to just process and release issues and all that sort of jazz. So if you are genuinely concerned about one of your colleagues or anyone that is around you, but you're not as watertight as you would be with your daughter or your son, or you haven't had those sort of deep type of conversations before, then ask them if they want to go for a coffee, or if they want a private Zoom. Like, just ask them if they want to have a one-on-one chat. Like, do you want to have a catch-up on Zoom? Okay? And just allow them the space and the freedom and the privacy to maybe open up. Maybe. Okay? It's a tough one, right? It really is a tough one. Especially with work colleagues. It's actually sometimes a lot more obvious that something's not right with people that you're not genuinely that close to, because you take them at face value. So say someone's like the real sort of gregarious, sort of loud type and whatnot, and he's all laughing and joking, and then all of a sudden one week you don't hear the laughs and the jokes and the the brashness and the volume. And it's sometimes a lot more obvious when you're a bit further away. It's like that, having that sort of that greater perspective, right? If you notice very binary changes in behaviors, that can be a real big sign, like very, very quickly. So it's a tough old gig, right? It's a tough old gig. this whole mental health thing. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, read the books. That's the biggest thing though, my friends. Please encourage people, encourage others, encourage those around you to actually do a bit of homework on it, because knowledge is the key to the whole game of mental health. Like I said, I'm speaking from experience, man. Because when I first went down my trip down mental health lane, I was very, very atypical, right? Take some meds for a couple of months. I'll get out the funk, and Robert's your father's brother, all's well, and I'll crack on with my life. But it very quickly became apparent that it wasn't going to be all right. And the other thing, one of the other things that really prompted me to learn about all this sort of stuff is the fact that I was on they're trying me on different meds, right, at different points. First set of meds meant that I just couldn't sleep at all. So then they flipped it onto a nighttime set of meds, which made it almost impossible to get out of bed some days. And it made me feel made me feel really, really hungover. So because of those very big changes, and I know that I felt, look, I need to understand why all this is happening to me. Because I showed an interest in learning all about it, my GP worked with me and listened to my opinions on why things were doing, or how I felt under certain medications. And we got to the point where there was a bit of trial and error, and we've got to a combination now that is just serving me so well. And that was 5.5 years ago, gang. And I'm comfortable, I'd rather not, but I'm comfortable if I end up being on meds for ever and a day. I really won't care, as long as they continue to help me with everything that I'm doing. I suspect one day, when I'm a bit grey and a bit old and all that sort of stuff, and I've got time, when kids are adults and they've got their lives, and I'm sort of hitting towards retirement age or whatever. Not that I think I'll ever retire. Then I'll probably give myself like a good sort of couple of months or something to just really get myself off meds permanently. But it's going to need to be a super controlled environment. Don't dick about with your meds as well, by the way, if you're on them. Don't just take them as and when you feel grumpy. You have to take them consistently, because they can take like a week or 2 weeks to even take any effect. So don't just take them like paracetamol when you got a headache. They are permanent fixtures in your life if you actually want them to help you. Okay? So anyway, are you okay? It's great in terms of bringing awareness. Knowledge is power, my friends. Knowledge is power. And you need to do your best you can to try and avoid closed questions. Especially with people that you're not real sort of super tight with. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Mate, my day was, like I said, it was an 8.3, drifted up to an 8.5, 8.6 when I had a good chat with Phil Robertson. And when I saw your ugly mug, even though it was covered in paint, I swear down, you were painting your face more than you were painting the walls behind you. It definitely went up, and it sort of nudged towards a 9, mate, purely because of seeing your video on Facebook. So thank you so much, my friend. Gang, so that's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents on that. Thankfully now, like I say, I always refer to me evolving as a human being out the back end of it. My frameworks have changed a massive amount. They wouldn't have done though if I'd have just gone with the flow of what the doctors, the shrinks, the psychologists, the psychiatrists. If I'd have just gone with the flow of them, then I would probably still be having reoccurring issues at more regular intervals if I wasn't learning about myself and this and the chemicals and dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin and endorphins and all of these happy hormones, they call it. All right. So have a read of them, gang, because you'll understand why. All you'll need to do is, for example, read about those happy hormones, and I reckon almost immediately you will be able to identify at least one thing in your life that is contributing towards your mental health concerns. I almost guarantee it. You'll find at least one glaringly obvious thing that'll be like, shit, that's why that's doing that to me. Okay, so please have a read of them. Not that I'm the world's expert, and I do, like I say, I just talk from my own battle scars, my own experiences, my own stories. But I personally found that to be an amazing help. To be perfectly frank, just learning about those chemicals that run around your brain. All right, now next question is around scheduling and time management. I was asked this earlier today. How do I schedule everything in while learning how to be a dad? That's an interesting one. And like I said, I happen to have a little bit of experience in this myself right now. Okay. Now, I'm going to call bullshit on something that is very much an institute. It's very much an institution of real estate, of sales generally. And I'm going to call bollocks on it. Okay. I'm going to say that it is bullshit. And that is the ideal week. I believe, I'm going to say it now, I believe that the ideal week is a big pile of poo. Impossible to maintain, and it's a very, very easy way to set yourself up for failure and little failures that contribute towards issues up here. It only takes you to miss one of your ideal week bits for you to go, oh, fuck, I missed that. And then you'll miss the next one because your day's just car crashed. And you'll end up, you might have listed one or two, right? But then you'll look at your day and think that and feel that you've failed because of the fact that you've had to accommodate these two appointments because, you know, they're money makers and what have you. Yeah, you'll feel good about it. You'll look back on the day and you'll feel like you've lost because your ideal week said so. It's bullshit, especially in sales. In sales, especially, I think it's bollocks. Here's why, right? So if you set yourself up with an ideal week, so say, for example, hypothetically speaking, you get told in your ideal week that you've got to prospect every morning and then make sure that all your appointments are set in the afternoons. That's what you have to do. That's your ideal week. Prospecting in the morning, get your calls done, and then appointments in the afternoon. All right. That is one of the more common ones that floats around. And when this really does apply to agents that are really trying to make a go of it. We're talking sort of south of 300, 400, 500K in GCI, where you've not got support staff yet. You've not got a BA or a PA or someone like that. All right. This is massive for you guys and gals. If you go with that sort of thing and you get told that you've got to do your ideal week and you have to be doing your prospecting in the morning and da-di-da-di-da, let me ask you something. If you haven't got many listings and then someone gives you a call and says, I'm ready to list at 11 a.m. or at 10 a.m., what are you going to do? You know what you're going to do. I know what you're going to do. Everyone knows what you're going to do. You're going to go to the appointment. If you've got a good degree of confidence that you can make some money off that appointment, it's a money-making appointment, you're going to go. But then the problem is, your habit is then that you will allow that to happen if an appointment drops into your diary in the morning because you'll justify it. You go, oh, well, look, it's a potential moneymaker. I'll be all right. And thus begins the ride of the roller coaster because you won't be able to provide yourself with any degree of consistency in your prospecting, in feeding your pipeline. Okay? Filling the top of that funnel. It won't happen. It just won't. You will allow yourself, you'll just keep letting yourself off. But then the problem is, a lot of the time you go, all right, I'll catch up with my prospecting later. But then you've realized, oh shit, I've already got 2 appointments later on anyway. And then what happens to that day's prospecting? It doesn't happen. So then you go, right, I'm going to double it up tomorrow. But then a buyer appointment comes up. Oh, right, well, I'll double it up later on tomorrow. And so on and so forth, right? So this is my problem with ideal weeks, particularly for new starters, new to real estate, like I said, rocking and rolling by themselves, no, support staff from a pod point of view, or anything like that, because you want that, you've got to be at all of those appointments. So it's very, very difficult to maintain an ideal week. And the other thing, right, is to say that prospecting in the morning is the best time to do it. Last time I checked, the vast majority of homeowners kind of have to work for a living during the day. So one of the questions that came with the one that I'm talking about now was one of the questions that followed up from that was, when's the best time to do any of this? Like, unless you know the diary of all 2,000 homeowners that are in your particular patch, which you won't, there will be no such thing as the best time to do it. Now, there are certainly, there are perhaps the worst times to do it. So for me, I don't think dinner time would be a great idea. Like tea time, I don't think that'd be the smartest move you've ever made. All right. So you just got to think about it from your consumer's point of view, gang. There's going to be some people that are in, there's going to be some people that are out at any given point of the day. All right. Thus, bringing me round to my solution for your scheduling concerns. You don't want to be thinking about ideal weeks. You want to be thinking about dynamic weeks. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by dynamic week? Well, what that means is you have set KPIs in terms of volumes of stuff that you need to get done by the end of the week. Okay. You then make sure that you set a couple of key rules in place that are non-negotiables. Things like making sure that your diary is set before the day begins. Okay. As well as a couple of other rules that I'm happy to talk about another time if people want me to go into it in any greater detail. Having a dynamic week and having the accountability on the volume of each task that you need to complete by the end of the week will allow you to keep on your toes for the whole week. So for example, you have if you don't have like these KPIs, these weekly KPIs or weekly volumes or whatever, right? And you have a quiet Monday and you smash out a load of prospecting on Monday, okay? And you feel really good about yourself, which is awesome. If you then work to that ideal week type scenario and then you have those issues that I just talked about, you may have done some really good prospecting on the Monday, but then by the end of the week, you would not have reached your targets. So what a dynamic week is you have your money makers set the day before. Like you'll have them set in your diary, on the night before, the following day. And what you then need to do, so they're your money-making appointments. You then need to fill those gaps with the prospecting activity based on the volumes that you have left so that you don't miss out on anything. Because one of the issues that the guy that I spoke to told me about was the fact that he's got all these different sort of target pockets of data, right? Whether it's, withdrawn listings, whether it's landlords or landlords on market or whatever the case may be, right? All these different segments of data. And he was worried that he was going to drop the ball on some of them because he doesn't have any degree of the sort of plan or degree of consistency. If you just have the volumes of what you need to get done by the end of the week, then it will remove that sort of temptation to feel like you've absolutely nailed it because you had a really good Monday, okay? Because it will help you to maintain perspective on what you need to get done by the end of the entire week. Likewise, if you have a really, really busy chock-a-block Monday, you still then have the perspective of what you need to make sure you get done the rest of the week. When it happens is irrelevant, gang. Just don't be an idiot and call it dinner time or call it 7 a.m. or call it 9 p.m., right? Just don't be an idiot and just do it at times that are socially acceptable. Because the probability of you getting connections, look, you may get a higher degree of probability at certain points of the day, but they're going to be different per suburb, right? So, for example, in my area, which was in Cranbourne North, when I first really got stuck into it, I knew that there was one particular pocket that had a hell of a lot of young mums because it was around a school. So I was like, right, they're probably going to be more likely to be around for a chat around about 10:30 when they've chilled out from, kicking kids out of school and so on and so forth. See what I mean? You've got to try and work to the probabilities of the demographics that you potentially have. Just blanket saying that getting them all done in the morning, it just makes no sense. Especially when you know for a fact that you are going to jump at the opportunity if a money-making appointment shows its face in the morning. Dynamic week, guys. That is the way forward, if you ask me. Ideal weeks are just the worst. Like if you've got a couple of support staff and that sort of stuff, and one of them's maybe an admin, then an ideal week for them is probably amazing because they've got they are the metronome to your team, right? They are the ones that keep a steady beat. They are the drummers of your band. So for them, it's absolutely fine to have an ideal week. But for you as an agent out in the field, not as easy, is it? Not as easy. So have a think about that, gang. I'm not saying you can't do it. You got to get it done. You got to get your bread and butter done. But stop setting yourselves up for failure every day because you're going to with an ideal week. You will do. All but guarantee it. All right, my friends. I've talked for long enough. I hope you got some sort of value, whether it's from the first bit about mental health or from the time management side of things. Because the big thing with time management is, ultimately you got to make sure that the most important people, i.e. your family, are the most important people in your life. You don't want to balls up your time management and end up never being able to put your kid to bed or give your wife any degree of attention. Otherwise, like if you don't get to do those things, why on earth are you doing it in the first place? It's for them, surely, isn't it? Anyway, so my friends, love you all. Like I said, it's a big day today for a lot of people because of the greater awareness from a mental health perspective. But like Craig says, please try and make it every day that you have that degree of awareness around you to understand or feel that something might not be 100% with someone close to you. Gang, love ya. Take it easy. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Most importantly, last one. Comedy night. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. There are still plenty of spaces available. If you want to come along on Zoom, it's free. Put up by RECD and Metro Property Management, Leah Calnan and Mel Carachas. It's going to be an amazing half an hour, pure comedy. Let your hair down. Forget about real estate for half an hour. Chill out. Have some laughs. Be with a bunch of people. There's about 300 or 400 people that have registered already. Still plenty of room if you want to jump on board. If you want to get your team involved, please DM me or just say that you're interested in the comment section and I will make sure that you get the link, okay? We'll make sure that you get the link. There's a couple of people that I haven't sent links to, which I will do tonight. But please, get your teams involved. If you're in any way related to the real estate space, please just get involved. We'd love to see you there. Like I'm just talking as a spokesperson for it, but it's all down to Mel and Leah just feeling like we all need to have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a chill out. Even just for half an hour, gang. It's not going to kill you. It's just going to make you laugh. With Claire Hooper, apparently, is absolutely hilarious. Gang, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Let me know if you want to register yourself. Let me know if you want to register your team. We'll make it all happen. Now, gang, I am going to leave. Love you. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Take it easy.